for the past 15 years, I lived abroad. I lived abroad in foreign countries.
Oh, yeah.
I'm an immigrant, a professional immigrant, I'd say.
Professional?
Immigrant.
Immigrant.
Yeah, I'm homeless. So whenever I'm in Korea or Hong Kong or any other place, I really miss Poland. I think about my friends, I think about my old aunts and things like that. But when I was in Poland, gosh, how I missed Korea, I missed my friends, and this is just... So, do you have any advice how to deal with that? Because it seems like I'm here in Korea, and instead of enjoying and appreciating this place and those people here, I keep thinking and longing for Poland. But when I go to Poland, I'm sure I'm going to miss her, What can you give advice, please?
Yeah. Well, think about something terrible in Poland. So I'm in Korea, so I'm not dealing with that. It's about like and dislike. But, I'm not just joking because, our meditation or chanting or bowing, everybody understands it's a technique. It's a tool that actually we can use to deal, to be free from suffering. So, any kind of technique you can use, but you already also understand that's because of your mind that, kind of chasing something good or bad. So use any kind of technique. Like I sometimes shared my own story that one time ran away when I was a Haeng Ja. That I ran away when I was Haeng Ja one time, not more than one time. I was much younger, I was 24, and then there's no explanation. It was just a moment, but probably something was accumulated in my mind. That's something that I don't like in the temple. And then in that moment, just, it exploded probably. I was carrying some rice cake for Chesa from the kitchen to the, Myeongbujeon, Jijang Bosal, Dharma Hall. Then on the way, just what am I doing here? And I just turned around to the kitchen, put the rice cake on the table, I left. Fortunately or unfortunately, later, Zen Master all the senior monks accepted me after I did 3,000 bow as a repentance. But anyway, so at that time, I talked about this a few times to you guys, but my mind was really I had this broke down. As soon as I stepped out of the one pillar gate of Haengja, I thought that this is a mistake. But I was not brave enough to just turn around. And I had really some breakdown for the next 3 days. I went to that temple to become Haeng Ja again, but it didn't work. My mind was already back in Haengja. Then I was able to connect with Zen Master Seung by Taebong Srim's help. So I called him, and then I'm this in this situation. And then later he told me on the phone, he said, even if you go to the heaven, if your mind is not at rest, it's going to become hell. And the opposite. Even if you go to the hell, if your mind is at rest, there can be heaven. Well, it's some word that actually probably you have heard in a different way. But when I heard that at that time, in that, moment that I was going through this breakdown, it was really something authentic. So even if you are in Korea, if your mind at rest, you can enjoy, something that you enjoyed in Poland, and then also one way the other way, or another way, if you go to Poland, the same. I think Sunim, you already understand, but just to share, yeah. When I was away, when I got COVID, for 4 days, I was in this small, we call in Korean nongmak. It's kind of a small, basically it's a container. It's a hut that people make like a little small house using the container. That we have this study hall and in orchard. So one of our Musangsa members generously let me to stay there for a few days. So I was there when you guys didn't see me. And then the owner's brother, who is now 75 years old, every day he came there because they had a small garden growing some veggies there. And then because I have not much things, only to deal with the sickness. And sometimes when it's cooler in the morning and evening, I did weeding every day there. And then this old man always showed up. Sometimes I think I stayed there for about 4 days. For about 1 or 2 days, he showed up like 4 times a day. And in the beginning, I was because I just want to be alone. But he came first time about 8 a.m. So of course, I don't want to show that I'm still on the bed. So, but actually, I slept in the early night. So I was always actually get up in the early morning, and I was kind of weeding. And I was amazed because this old man is kind of skinny. His hair is completely gray. He's 75, and his back is even a little bent, so he doesn't look be strong man. But this grass cutter, like the Togam Sunim, Popsan Sunim used to do in the morning, it looks a little heavier. He was doing for 1 hour, and he did maybe twice a day. So whenever he showed up, I couldn't be just in the room. I mean, basically in the container. I just went out, and I also had to weeding. because this old man, cutting these grasses with this, and I told him that how, you're so strong, and then I told him that actually I got COVID, so I'm very sorry that I don't want to actually pass even a glass of water. And he told me, oh, no, don't do that. Actually, I also have some symptom. He said that it's not COVID, but actually I have some fever, and it looks like some cold. So I don't know if he tried to make me feel comfortable or if it is true. And then when he finished cutting the grass, and then we often just sat down on some armchair, 2 armchairs in the shade. So, and then he really liked to share about his own story. And it was very interesting because he volunteered to Vietnam War when he was in 20s. So now he's 75. So that's been probably about 55 years ago. And as you know, Korean government also sent the soldiers to Vietnam War in late 60s and also early 70s. And then he volunteered. He's from a wealthy family, so he didn't have to go actually. There was some way for him to actually not go to the army at the time, but he volunteered. He told me because he had to do. He needed some reason to live this life. So he volunteered, and then he went. And in a battle, he's this, how do you call this, sect? Not sect, how do you call this, colleague soldiers sent to a battle, and this bomb, throwing bomb, exploded where they were actually shooting, and the 6 of them just killed in the spot, and then he was injured. 2 of them injured, so he was sent back to Korea. And he showed me still he has some scar here. Then it was a big change in his life, because he just faced the death. And then he thought about that was his own luck to survive. He thought that was from the virtue of his parents, especially mother, because he remembered it's like a late 60s in Korea. Almost everybody was poor, because after Korean War, like in the 50s, the country was destroyed. So almost everybody was poor at the time. But his family was quite wealthy in the town. They had some kind of a business. And then he remembered when he was a boy, especially his mother always invited all these poor neighbors to home whenever they have some, like, enough food. And then she always feeding them, but not for free. And that also always impressed him. She always asked, also the father asked them to do, even maybe chop one wood and then eat the food. Almost free, but they asked them to do something, not just for free. Probably to take care of their karma. You know, you get only things for free, someday you have to pay. But I don't know, but when I heard that, I thought about it. But anyway, he was always remember that, and probably the reason why he was survived, that because of his parents, especially mother, always this offered, you know, the help, the need for the poor. And she was a big Buddhist. Like, for example, she used to go to this Popjusa, the big temple in Korea, and at that time even they had their own car. And then she could just go buy her own car, very, you know, convenient. But when she goes to the temple once in a while, she always went to buy like some public bus or just walk. Like thinking of what Buddha did. Like, because Buddha went through this very, you know, this ascetic or some tough practice. And then when she offered a bag of rice, he remembered when he was a boy, she was like picking only the good grains from the whole bag with a chopstick. She poured that kind of sincerity about what she was doing. So anyway, he told me that he survived probably because of the virtue of her, the parents, the sincerity. Anyway, well, I think I was just talking about when you asked about this, you know, the good things in this place, or then you miss something better in other place. There can be, you know, various situations in our life. And as also Zen Master Sahn said, were these parents of this old man, that what you can do at this moment or in certain period of time, that will makes your time to be good or bad. And I think we all understand. But of course, it's important if you can just do it or not. So I just wanted a little share this old man story.